Hi, Sonia. Welcome.
Thanks, Carol. So nice to see you.
So nice to see you here. Thank you so much for joining this conversation on healing, unexpected healing, or perhaps that's not exactly the right word because you may have expected it from everything you did. We'll see how it unfolds. And welcome everyone to Heart Nest, which is about having conversation with people like Sonia who were diagnosed with a condition and were either given an incurable diagnosis or were basically told we don't know how long it's going to take those medications for as long as it's here. But they beat the odds and they are free. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, Sonia,
Yes.
when I met you a few months ago, you were sharing that you had quite a profound and rapid healing um,
Mhm.
following a skin condition. Would you share with us how it all started?
Sure. So it was back in 2008 when I just woke up and suddenly, my skin all over in different parts were very, very itchy and uncomfortable to the point I was in tears. So my dad was here in the UK and he drove me to the GP and I got prescribed some, pills to take. They told me it was something called I can't say it properly, but anyway, it was a dermatology issue.
Yeah.
And they asked me, have you had a lot of stress lately? And I said, well, in the last 8 months, no. But, we've all had stress at some point. And he reminded me of that. And he said, well, your body remembers. So this is how it's broken out. And what would happen was I would just get these random red marks on my face, on my arm, other parts of my body. And then they would just also randomly disappear as well. But they were very itchy as well. I could be talking to a friend in a restaurant and for an hour and then suddenly said, oh my God, what's that on your face? How come you've got like 3, 4 lines that have just appeared? Uh, you know. So anyway, I took the pills for about 2 weeks, and I know the harm that it does to your body long term because
So, sorry, Sonia, what sort of pills were they? Were you given cortisol? Cortisone? What was it?
there was some sort of antihistamine pills. I don't remember the name. And they said, he said you'll have to take them, at least 6 months, maybe more. Let's see how it goes. After 2 weeks, I said, no, I know what this is going to do. I think I made an intention. Maybe I can just do without these pills and see how it goes.
So when you
Now,
when you say I know what they do, are you talking about the potential side effect?
yes,
Right.
exactly. The side effects. Yes, sorry. And, interesting enough, yes, my body was still itchy and the rashes would come and go, but it was much more bearable. Okay. Now, I had heard of certain healing techniques, something called Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian healing
Yeah.
technique. I'd read this book called Zero Limits by Joe Vitale that mentioned this Hawaiian healing technique. And I'd used it very casually a couple of years before to heal some sort of pain on my foot because again, I woke up one day and I couldn't walk properly. And I decided, okay, let's do some Ho'oponopono on it. And then I just forgot about it. And then literally the next day, I was like, oh, wow, I'm healed. I don't feel the pain anymore. That's interesting. Now, I kept the skin condition that I had, the rashes, everything with me for 5 years because I simply didn't think Ho'oponopono would be that powerful enough to treat this condition.
So hold so hold on a sec. Let's pause here. You decided to stop the medication because you were concerned about the potential side effects, right?
Yes, yes.
And by the way, we're not encouraging anyone to stop their medications, right? But it's a well-known fact that there are side effects to medications, right? So you stopped taking it, and for 5 years, without
Yes,
medication, you just lived with the condition.
yes, but it wasn't as uncomfortable as before.
Okay,
But and so I could live with it.
right.
And it wasn't stopping me from doing anything. But of course, at some point after 5 years, I just thought, you know what, I need to actually get rid of this. I think it'd be good. So I thought, why don't I just give Ho'oponopono a try? So I did it one night just before you go to bed. They say that a lot of times, when you want to manifest or do healing processes, you should try and do it just before you go to bed. This is when your subconscious starts opening up. And then first thing in the morning. So I practiced it and focused on my skin. And I did it for 45 minutes, but I also added visualization processes, imagining that my skin is comfortable, and that I've got great skin and it's all healed and repaired. And so I did it, 45 minutes in the morning. And then I did it for 3 nights, 3 days. And then I just let it go and went about my business. I didn't have any expectations. I wasn't attached. I was still kind of new to this idea. And then it just never came back.
After
It
three
did,
days.
yes, after just 3 days, it did come back after 4 years. I will admit, but a much milder version. And then I just did it for one night, 45 minutes. And then the next day I just did it for half an hour in the morning. And then, yeah, I've been clear for 7 years now. It's never come back. So it's good.
Amazing, amazing. So
Yeah.
we won't go too deep into the Ho'oponopono, but I will put something in the explanation on YouTube about where to find the right information about it. But
Yeah.
45 minutes, so morning and evening, 45 minutes on the process. Did you
Yes.
do? So it sounds like you didn't just do Ho'oponopono for those 45 minutes. You did Ho'oponopono, but you also did some kind of visualization, if I understand rightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
then
could you take us through the process then, Mana?
okay, from the visualization process or the
So
hoop.
sort of like what did those 45 minutes involve for you?
Okay.
What did it look
So,
like?
so the Ho'oponopono mantra, just for everybody to know, it involves just four simple sentences. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. The order does not matter, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest. And so I just focused on my skin condition and I said to my entire skin all over my body. I took it a little bit more deep rather than just saying the lines. I initially started with, okay, I'm sorry that you're not comfortable and you're feeling a lot of discomfort. And I'm sorry for any conscious or unconscious behavior within me that may have created this. Okay. Please forgive me. And I said it with a lot of sincerity. Please forgive me for this unknown habits I may have created to create this discomfort throughout you. Thank you so much for forgiving me. And thank you so much for being part of me. And thank you for healing and being strong. And I love you so much. I love that you are part of me. You are very important to me. And the kind of feelings I went into was like, when you're trying to mend a relationship with someone who's really important to you in your life,
Mhm.
okay? That's the kind of conversation you would have, to get the forgiveness and for it to be healed and mended rather than just brushing it past and putting it under the carpet. And then I don't know what inspired me, but I chanted the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is "I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you" 11 times. 11.
Particular reason, yeah, for the 11 times?
I was always taught 11 is. I've always learned that 11 is a symbol of peace and something very symbolic. So that's what inspired me to do
Yeah.
it.
So based on symbols that you knew
Yes,
from whatever practices you may have had before. Yeah.
yes. And then what I would do is I would actually, I can't remember the order anymore. I would visualize my entire body covered in green light. And I would imagine the words healed, healed, healed tattooed all over me. And again, I would repeat healed, healed, healed 11 times. Then I would imagine my entire body covered in pink light and imagine the words love tattooed 11 times as well, you know. I would then call upon, I'd heard that Archangel Raphael is the healer for for illnesses and injuries and diseases, pain. So I called upon him. And
And
I
as a side note, he's kind of with us today.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. I promise you, I do not know. Every time I've been doing a Zoom call as of this year with people, somehow this picture of an archangel behind me in green light has come. I did not put it there, I promise you. So that's a sign that there's
Amazing. We love that. We love that. Yeah, so
not
sorry
much
I
to talk
interrupted. So
about,
you're
but
with
that's
the
another thing.
pink light now. No.
Yeah. And then I do believe I did have a mystical experience with an Indian entity, God known as Ganeshji, who's the
Energy.
remover of all
Yeah.
obstacles.
Yeah.
I had a mystical experience with him many, many years ago, about 30 years ago, whilst I was in India. And I was very skeptical about these kind of things, praying to statues and an elephant god. Oh God, it sounds ridiculous. I'm a religious person at all, but I do believe in the power of prayer. My grandmother taught me a couple of prayers when I was young. I still, up to this day, don't know what the words mean. And it doesn't matter. It's a bit like I know electricity works. I don't need to know the details
Yeah.
how it works. I switch
Yes.
on the light, I see the light.
Yes.
And so I would also chant the prayer called the Gayatri Mantra 11 times as well.
Yes.
Okay. And I would ask these entities, Archangel Raphael, Ganeshji, to help me heal my entire skin. And I would chant the prayer again 11 times, and then I would thank them for their help. And I would spend maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes just visualizing the outcome and, creating affirmations again 11 times. I'm so grateful that I'm comfortable in my skin. My skin is perfect. It's completely balanced out and it's wonderful. And and I would constantly say I'm grateful for this, because I'd learned from quite some time ago, from many books I'd read, that a gratitude supercharges your manifestations, non-healing and healing, and even the power of prayer. So I did that, and I've used that recipe. I just came up with it, combining different things
So
together.
it just came spontaneously. You
Yeah.
sort of very organically.
Yes, yes, became creative. Nobody told me I should do this. I took
Yeah.
bits and bobs from this and that. And then yeah, I've used Ho'oponopono for other things as well. The same recipe. Another one was when suddenly I started traveling around Africa end of 2020. So around 2021, I remember being in Tanzania, and it felt like I've got a bladder infection. I kept on going to the loo all the time. We're talking 14, 15 times a day. And so we thought, okay, it's a bladder infection. And when I got tested in various countries, no one could find a bladder infection. And this went on for quite some time. I was given some antibiotics, some herbal pills, and how inconvenient, how inconvenient. I do not know why. I think it was lack of faith. I thought, well, maybe I should Ho'oponopono it. But again, because of lack of confidence, I did not Ho'oponopono it. I just thought it'll go away, but it never did. And I think what really pushed me was, at one time my brother was really encouraging me to do an MRI or something,
MRI. MRI.
MRI scan. And I was in Rwanda, and it was really expensive. First of all, it was costing about £350. Number one, the urologist doctor, she wasn't always available. That means I'd have to hang around for her for 2 to 3 weeks. And I just finished seeing the country, so I don't want to hang around for another 2, 3 weeks when I want to move on. So I just thought, okay, let me give Ho'oponopono a try. I admit I did not go in full detail like I just did. I just did the basic. I'm sorry. Talking to my body. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thank you, to my bladder, my kidneys, my urethra tract, and I could see some improvement. I was like, oh, I'm not going to the bathroom that much anymore. But then it would come back again. And then finally I said, okay, maybe I need to go full in, like I just have told you, with a full.
Terrible.
And so, yeah, again, literally after 2, 3 days, I think three, yeah, I've being cleared, you know.
So again, in a
Um,
very short period of time,
yeah,
applying a similar process. And so I'm very curious about something that you said, because you already had the experience of healing your skin, right? Which was quite a dramatic
yeah.
result, we could say. And yet, you mentioned the word faith and trust. It's like you somehow, when that bladder thing was, oh, well, okay. It's almost like, okay, well, it worked there. Why would it work for that now, sort of thing?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what do you think made the difference in that moment? The moment you decided that, okay, I'm just gonna do that for my skin, and how much do you feel the intention behind the process was actually part of the healing process?
Oh, definitely. Intention is a very important part. You've got to make the intention. This is what I want to heal. And you know, part of me just, whilst I wasn't in major discomfort, I just thought, well, how long do I want to go on like this? What if there's something else that's going on in my body that needs to be addressed? And maybe I shouldn't ignore it, even if it's not causing me major discomfort. It is still uncomfortable at times to continuously itch, you know, for 5, 10 minutes, or sometimes even 20. And then for a few days, nothing would happen, and then the itch would come back, and I thought maybe I need to do something about it, you know. And in Rwanda, again, I delayed the process because of lack of faith. And then I think I got incentivized by the fact that I was not keen
Like
on paying.
money.
And I
So
thought, well,
it's like there needs to be a drive behind, right? That
yeah,
that's what I'm hearing. The drive that was behind it.
yes, yes. You know, it's a bit like you can be in bed and just lie around. Your alarm clock goes off. Oh, I'll just lie around for another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you yeah, I'm tired, so I'm just going to take it easy. But if your bed's on fire, if suddenly your bed's on fire, you're going to get up and go. You're not
Yes.
going to wait even for a second.
Yes.
Don't forget about being tired or
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah.
So I think that happens to us sometimes, you know, in your life. And I still delay the process, you know, even this comes on. Sometimes I'm really doubtful, like, how can this work for such a major injury? And I've still got a lot more stories with Ho'oponopono visualization, but recently, about 2, 3 weeks ago, what was happening was I've got lots of metal work in my arm, all across my arm, and nails. So what was happening on the bottom part, I could feel the nails going through the inside of my skin, and it was beginning to feel, yeah, exactly, a bit
Yeah. Yeah.
uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
I didn't bother doing anything about it because I thought, oh yeah, it'll go, you know, etc. And then it didn't, and I just thought, well, let's see what happens with Ho'oponopono. I decided to be really relaxed about it. I must admit, I went on for 2 hours. It was in the middle of the night, three
Wow.
o'clock or something, and I did it for 2 hours, and then I went
So
back to
for
sleep.
2 hours, you repeated it like a mantra. I'm
Yes, and
sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. You
yes.
just repeated that for 2 hours non-stop like a mantra.
Yes, and I also have started, as of this year, I started discovering HZ healing frequency music, on which can be easily found on YouTube, you know,
Yeah.
528 hertz or 400 and something hertz. So there are so many of them, and so I would use that with Ho'oponopono. And I didn't go do the full recipe, like put in green colors, call upon Archangel Raphael and Ganesh and pray. I didn't do any of that. I just did a basic, I'm sorry, for any conscious, unconscious. That takes less than a minute. And then I just chanted and chanted. And whilst I was playing that music, I could, and it still happens, I always feel these electric sensations and tingling sensations going all over my hand. In fact, what I'll tell you, this is something great. When I had my injury, when the bus crushed me, of course, you know, they shock, trauma, everything, horror,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I really
Yeah.
thought I was amputated. A good Samaritan, good angels from somewhere called an ambulance. Within 15, 20 minutes, I was put in the ambulance. But it was still another 3.5 hour journey to the nearest hospital. And they put me some sort of oxygen and they said, please try not to fall asleep. So sometimes they just tap me here to try and keep me awake. And of course, you know, I'm scared for my life now. And all I could think of just doing was just Ho'oponopono. So,
In that moment when you were in the ambulance on your way to the hospital.
yeah, I had to
Wow.
stay awake. So I just Ho'oponoponoing, and I can promise you, I really believe that was one of the things that may have led to this arm being put together, because these were multiple fractures. In fact, I was very fortunate. This happened in the country, overseas, in Oman. So they managed to do a very good job. And thanks to that, the London surgeons, who are very high up in their field, were able to continue with their work. They actually tell me, congratulate your Omani doctors, otherwise we couldn't have continued. They
Wow.
actually told me that despite the first surgery on Oman, when they first saw my X-ray, some of them actually thought there's no chance that this arm is going to have any sort of survival rate or functionality, so it's best to be amputated. So there's quite a bit of a debate. Um, so there were all these things, but I was so tired all the time in hospital. The only thing that I had energy, because it's so simple, Ho'oponopono, is just to chant this prayer. I didn't go full Monty. I didn't do the full recipe. I just played on this music, 528, and I literally felt vibrations. And at one point, not it was one point, a few times, I even felt like some invisible forces were in my arm doing some sort of invisible surgery. And they were telling me, look, your outer elbow's gone. It never made it back to the UK. So that's gone and it can never ever grow back. And there's a problem with your inner elbow. We don't think it's there, but we don't think it can be put in the original place. So I changed the script and I said, they're going to change that script. They might tell me, oh, I had read these stories where people were doing visualization processes, and that their scans had changed accordingly, and then the surgeons were surprised. So I thought, oh, that maybe I could be one of those people.
So you basically imagine the outcome that you wanted. Kind of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
exactly.
created the outcome that you wanted
Yeah,
so that your
yeah.
reality would match it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was constantly playing these 8Z frequencies on my phone and chanting the Ho'oponopono mantra. And I promise you, and again, I'm not hallucinating. Sometimes, people might say, oh, you're on high antibiotic doses, so maybe you're hallucinating. But no, I know I wasn't myself. I had no energy for many things, but I know what was happening. And I literally felt like as though somebody was caressing my outer elbow and kissing me as well. And so, and
Wow.
my elbow was getting pushed, the inner part of the elbow was getting pushed inside. And I had to look at my arm like, who is there? What's happening? Who's in the room? And and I was just visualizing it, and we did a scan. Of course, they don't give the results immediately. At one point, I was lying on my side, and again, I was just visualizing a surgeon coming in to tell me the good news, and I could not believe it. Literally, about 5 minutes later, he appeared on the scene. Oh, we've got some good news. We had a big meeting, and yeah, we've seen your scan. It looks like it is going to be possible to put your inner elbow back in its original place. And I was like, wow.
I love that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Beautiful.
even now, I go to see surgeons and they're actually shocked. They didn't even think that I could even do this. And they're even more shocked that I can actually do this. In less than a year, I was able to do that and make some extensions. They've told me I'll have limited functionality and mobility in the future. So that's the bad news. But the good news is I always tell people is they were not able to tell me what percentage. So
Yes.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
98%. It's good enough for me.
Yeah. And so to put things into context, Sonia, I met Sonia last summer as part of a Joe Dispenza walking meditation group. And you were sharing your story with us. And you were telling us that recently you'd just been able to join your fingers, which again, you weren't supposed to be able to do. And just before we started recording for our conversation today, you
They
said
they
that
they
you
were
could.
hoping they were actually hoping that that's a possibility.
Okay, okay,
So that actually was possible, but it was a question mark. They hadn't
okay,
completely ruled it out, but
okay.
it hadn't happened until about July time, and they were expecting that to happen a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And so when time went along, and it wasn't happening, there were question marks.
Yeah, they were kind of like, well, yeah, it's becoming more doubtful, and
Yeah,
but the movement is actually improving as well because now it's not just those two fingers that you can join. Yeah, you were showing me you can move
Yeah, I can now
fingers more.
I can touch my thumb and bring it easily towards my middle and ring finger consistently. It does help that I did have a physiotherapist create a very good splint for me. But again, finding that's the other thing, finding the right people to help me and
Yes.
the right thing to do has become quite a challenge. And so I have to literally put it out there. I don't ho'oponopono it. I just literally visualize as though I'm so grateful I've found a great solution to solve this problem. And again, I don't dwell too much on it because a lot of times I don't even feel it's going to be possible, but I just let go and see what happens. And then it does happen. And I've got a story on that too as well. Much to talk about.
Multiple stories. We'll have you back, Sonia. We'll have you back. And so, okay, so this is really fascinating. You just spoke about something that I think is key as well, is the letting go.
Yeah, it's
And
very,
very, so we hear this thing, oh, let go, and then we're just like, yeah, but how do I let go, right? How do I let go of that thing? So, for instance, if someone is in pain, and they're using, say they decide to try what you try and say, yeah, I'm gonna visualize, I'm gonna call upon angel Raphael and the green light, and I'm gonna do oponopono, and but they're like, oh, how do I let go? I can't let go. And then throughout the day, because of the pain perhaps, or the fear around whatever it is that they're experiencing,
yeah,
they keep on milking the problem, so to speak. uh,
yeah.
so I'm not sure there is a recipe to letting go, but
It's, it's
how did it come to you? Is it something that came quite naturally, or you had to remind yourself that okay, it's in your
actually,
hands?
I'm going to contradict a lot of teachings where it say that when you ask for something, whether it's a healing or non-healing situation, always expect it because that later on they say, oh, let go, don't attach yourself. For me it's a
Yeah,
contradiction.
yeah,
I'll be
yeah. We hear that a lot. Yes.
Yeah. So in my situation, I'll be very honest. I was just very playful in the beginning, and I just thought, well, let's see what happens. I didn't think it would really work, if I have to be honest. Again, that
Right.
contradicts people, yeah. But I didn't. I wasn't so attached, and because I wasn't expecting miracles, or anything. I wasn't so attached. But I just thought, well, let's see what happens. Let's see if something can come up. Something good can come up, and it always did, and it just surprised me. And even now, I keep, yeah, I still have doubts, despite having healed myself, because this is such a major injury. I
Yeah.
just think, will it be able
Yeah.
to handle this? But
Yes.
it is helping me in small bits and bobs in
Yeah.
different parts. But I
Yeah.
have to start with somewhere. I cannot suddenly expect a miracle for
Yeah.
cannot expect to be at the summit of a mountain in 2 minutes. The
And
others were
it's
just
still, so your accident where your arm was injured, that was just over a year ago, yeah?
yeah, 14 months ago. Yeah.
14 months ago, yeah. So it's still sort of fairly recent in terms of such an injury.
Yes. Yes. So,
Yeah. Okay, so I love what you're saying. So you actually had doubts, but I love throughout the whole process, but you stayed with it. Something, was it just the playfulness? You mentioned that you approach it with lots of playfulness. Is that the playfulness? Do you have a playful nature that just encouraged you to go there? Or was there
yeah.
just a little voice, perhaps, like a hopeful voice or whatever that
Both,
is, that was sort of whispering, stay with it,
both.
carry on anyway. It doesn't matter if you doubt, and
Yeah.
let's just keep on doing it.
It's you perfectly put. It's a combination of two, being playful but also being hopeful. Because if I don't hope,
Right.
then what do I have
Yes.
to look forward to?
Yes.
I was taught a German expression from a long time ago. Hope is the last thing that should die. So,
Wow. Oh, I
you
didn't know that one.
know,
Beautiful. Yeah.
uh, I've always kept that in mind. And because if I don't persevere, then what? Then what? I'm at a dead end, and I don't like the idea of dead ends. So I have to give things a go. Some things will work, some things won't. So there's been a lot of trial and error. I've been learning about other healing techniques as well, something called quantum touch.
Yes.
Um, so, I'm still very new to it. So, and it does work to some extent, but I'm not 100% comfortable with it as yet, because it does involve a lot. They're simple techniques, but when you have to apply it, it involves a lot of breathing practices continuously. And I've heard amazing stories, and I've actually witnessed it for myself, experienced it on myself, and others that I've tried it on, because in the workshop you have to work with a partner, then they
Mm-hmm.
work with you, and then you have to give each other feedback. But the one that I'm really comfortable with at the moment is just Ho'oponopono and visualization. Actually, I've been using something called the Silva Mind Method.
Yeah, the Silva
I've
Method.
never
Yeah,
really
yeah.
used it for healing, but I've used it for other non-healing things where the impossible became possible. Um, and for so many types of different things. The only time I experienced the silver healing was I met a Facebook friend who was in a silver group. She is a silver instructor, and she used to run courses on all types of silver modalities. And she kindly offered me a healing session on a shoulder about a couple of years ago. And in 40 minutes, 80% of the pain was gone, and I was amazed. And then I did think, okay, let me Ho'oponopono the rest, but I got lazy, to be honest, Carol. I was just like, yeah, go away. And actually, after about a month, it just went by itself. I didn't put any focus on it.
No focus.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm actually absolutely amazed at the level of focus that you can put into something. So when you said, for instance, that when or first in the ambulance, that all you were doing, and granted, in that time you were in a really difficult position. You were fearful for your own life, and so what's left. So I know that sometimes when we're faced with something so dramatic,
yeah,
we're kind of pushed into corners, and we will focus. It really gets us to focus. But then
yeah.
you were at the hospital, and you said that day in, day out, you would just repeat the
As,
Ho'oponopono prayer. Now that
as an
requires a huge amount of focus and conscious decision, to make a conscious decision to go to it, because the mind distracts us all the time.
yeah, and
And in that
especially,
case, it could easily have distracted you,
yeah, and
towards thoughts that were, fearful and full of fear and doubt, and all of that. And you could choose to stay with that somehow.
yeah. And I went through hell and back in hospital because, they give you antibiotics 4 times a week, through your veins. So it's even stronger, 5.5 months in hospital. And, your whole world changes, your way of thinking. I mean, I had no energy levels. I couldn't even be bothered to brush my hair. The first time I brushed my hair after the accident was after about 7 months.
I
you
dread
know,
to think about all the knots you had to get rid of.
well, I did, yes. So I did have to have a bit of a chop and had to call somebody in. But even then, I wasn't bothered. But Ho'oponopono is actually insanely easy. And I tried other techniques. I tried to even do visualizations, but I would just fall asleep. There was a time where I didn't even use Ho'oponopono at all. I just chanted the Gayatri mantra for Ganeshji. Um, because what happened was I had a massive surgery. I've had 15 surgeries so far. And my 11th surgery was the most important one, which lasted 13 hours. So after that, they pumped me with tons of morphine, tons of other stuff, orally through my veins, 8 Panadols as well, or maybe 12, and these very high dose painkillers. And if I didn't take them, my hands would feel like they're on fire. And again, I know the damage and the side effects of all these things, and plus I'd been pumped with so much anesthetic throughout the 13 hours. Uh, every time I try to visualize, I'd fall asleep very quickly. Every time I tried to even pray, I'd fall asleep very quickly. So at one point, after 1 week of this, I said, enough is enough. I'm shutting the doors. Maybe if I chant these prayers, not the Ho'oponopono prayer, the Gayatri mantra, loud, if I'd say it loud with conviction, that will keep me awake. So I put do not disturb sign
Right.
outside, and I chanted it. I'm drawn very much to the numbers like 11, 11, 11 or something. So I decided I'm going to chant this 111 times. So I sounded like one of those church evangelists. So I was really loud, going with conviction, asking again, with conviction, but with humility as well. Please help me get rid of these painkillers. And I would do 2, 3 minutes of visualization that I'm totally off the painkillers, etc. So half an hour in the morning, then half an hour in the evening. And that was around, I think, 18th of November. And since then, I've not been on a single painkiller. And the doctors were blown away, like, how is this even
Wow.
possible? The best was when my surgeon came to me, he said, oh, I was thinking about your situation, that some of these painkillers, even though very strong, are not working for you. I've thought of some other alternatives. And he thought I'd be very pleased with this news. And I said, no, I've got even better news. It's been about more than 24 hours, and I've not had to take a single painkiller. So I think I just could be okay without them. And he looked at me and goes, well, just in case. And I said, no, there's no just in case. I'm hoping for the best. I saw him actually 2, 3 days ago, a bit cocky of me to say. And I said, well, you keep doing well. Every time I see you, I'm always pleased to see your hand and the progress you're making. I'll see you in about 3 months, but we need to obviously discuss some things, in case you plateau. So I said, no, I don't plan to plateau. I plan to peak. And I couldn't believe I said that. I was like, oh gosh, that sounds really arrogant of me to say. But hey, I, I've visualized even one of my other surgeons telling me that you keep proving me wrong. You're just trashing and garbaging everything I say to you. Could not believe it. Once I was in hospital, he said those exact words to me.
What is there left to say?
Yeah.
This is,
So
I just love that, because it's one of the reasons I wanted to start this channel and have those conversations, because there's such inspiration in that. There is so much hope,
yes.
and from the hope, so much inspiration. And obviously we're not saying, everyone, the entire planet is going to be healed and all that. This is not the point. It's really just to open up to possibilities which are far beyond what we could even imagine, right?
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of inspiration by I literally go on YouTube links looking for people who've had amazing healing miracles, who've gone through far worse journeys than I have, and how they've managed to heal themselves.
Yeah.
The story is incredible. I just finished reading a wonderful book called The Metaphysical Miracles of Healing by a lady called Evelyn. I don't know her surname. Um,
The metaphysical.
it's actually here. Sorry, it's behind me. The Miracle of Metaphysical Healing.
The
It's really good.
miracle of metaphysical healing.
Yeah.
We
And
put
so,
all of that in the description for everyone to refer
yeah.
to.
And some of the techniques, that, oh, that sounds familiar, where the last step is imagine your surgeon being amazed and shocked by your recovery, etc. And I was like, oh, I was already doing that, And I learned that from the Silva Method, that, when you do a visualization of any type, you should have some sort of feedback. Imagine, you're telling your friends, it's amazing that this happened, or if it's, boss or a surgeon or whoever, they're saying, wow, this is wonderful what you've done, or etc.
Yeah.
So and then there's some other exercises, and the words that she uses as well. So her story is very inspiring. She was a lady who was blind for about 9 or 10 years. She also had, if I'm not missing if I'm not wrong, I think she had epilepsy, and her right arm was completely paralyzed. So somehow she decided to dabble with the metaphysical world, the world beyond our 3D dimensional world. And she created her own healing thing that got downloaded. So she's inspired. And imagine being blind for 9 years. And then after about, I think, 10 days, she got her eyesight back. About another week or two, she was cured from her epilepsy. And then another week or two, her right arm became quite functional, if not fully functional. So
Wow.
we're talking less than
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she
Okay. So
gives,
that book is on my list.
yeah, recommend it. And then she gives, case studies of different people who were consulting her, who had either back pain or shoulder pain or,
Mm.
digestive issue or whatever issue they had. And yeah, that's pushing me now to take it even further now.
Is that exciting?
I actually find it exciting. You know, my surgeon said the other day, "Oh, you know, I find it so exciting, all these developments that are happening in the." And then I think he felt a bit embarrassed because because my situation being vulnerable. He goes, "Oh, well, maybe exciting isn't the right word." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, you know, it's funny because I've been using that word exciting for quite some time, but he doesn't know why it's exciting for me. I'm not going to start talking about metaphysics and the
Yeah,
he
yeah,
said
yeah,
stuff because they
yeah.
have a certain way of thinking." And I have a huge respect for my surgeons. I really do. They're amazing. And I don't think I could have progressed without their support because they're the ones who planted this seed. And it's thanks to their expertise I've managed to excel. So
Yeah.
I've got to compliment them for sure. But unfortunately, they already have a lot to learn. So I cannot even blame them for not knowing enough about this other world. But he does agree that they do agree that mindset does have an important role. And I just want to also point out things important to also say. Was I always this confident? You know, a lot of people have misunderstood. They're like, wow, you're so positive and you're so confident. That is amazing. And I'll be honest, no, I haven't always been positive at all. I have fallen to pieces. I've gone through bouts of depression as well. And every time someone said, "Oh, wow, you're so strong and positive," I actually break down in tears because I would feel like, "Oh, that's such a lie. That's not true of me at all." Sometimes, yes, it was true, but sometimes it really wasn't. Um, but I'm learning to be kinder to myself, which is something that my friends, family members, surgeons, doctors, nurses, everyone tells me you need to be kinder to yourself. You know, you're too hard on yourself. So I'm learning.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, that self-love thing is, yeah, it's a whole other discussion, but yeah, yeah, beautiful. And um, if you had words of wisdom for anyone that's watching us, listening to your story, taking it in, and they might be going through some hardship themselves, you know, because they have been given an incurable diagnosis, or um, would you have any words of wisdom for them?
I'm just going to regurgitate certain sentences that I've read or listened to. A lot of things were predicted to be impossible, but became possible. Remember, Einstein also got it wrong. So your surgeons won't always be right, just like Einstein was sometimes wrong. And you know, keep at it, and it's okay. You know, it's okay to have down days because you know we're all human at the end of the day. But do your best to shift yourself to another mindset, and it doesn't always happen immediately. You know, we're on a different journey, so don't ever compare yourself to another person. It is what it is, and your time will come when it's supposed to. But be open, very, I would say, you know, to sum it up, be open-minded to possibilities
Open
happening.
possibility.
And what's really pushed me is the amazing miracles that I just keep reading about or listening to. Just yesterday, I was just listening to a testimonial from a Joe Dispenza fan who healed himself in a miraculous way. And the lady said that she reached early menopause at 32 years old. But yet, after
I
doing a
watched
lot,
it yesterday.
isn't it? Don't talk about coincidence, synchronicity.
Yeah.
And yet, she then conceived. She managed to have twins later on
Twins.
after doing some healing work.
Mm.
And you know, there's the lady who was had a really bad accident, much worse than mine, and she was not able to have a bowel movement, and she was quite paralyzed, and she was told that she'd have to, uh, poop in a bag for the rest of her life. And she just thought, well, I'll just have to go back my own colon and rectum. And you know, surgeons will always tell you, no, that's not possible.
Yeah.
And she managed to do it. And now she's in her 60s, you know, dancing, laughing, very mobile. She doesn't need to use a bag. She goes to the toilet like a normal, regular person. So these things are now really pushing me. I can't always say I've got 100% confidence, but, you know,
So
um,
it's
it's
so this is beautiful.
ongoing.
So you're part of your journey is really to draw inspiration from other sources.
Yes.
And would you say that it's as important as your own practice?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it adds to it. You know, it does charge me up because you know when you have your moments of doubt. But as Joe Dispenza always like to say,
Yes.
that doubt is
Yeah.
a killer of miracles.
Yeah.
So I'm even now urging, a friend of mine just reached out to me. He goes, I remember you doing some sort of healing on yourself a long time ago. This person is not open to any of this stuff. And suddenly he confessed that he's had a shoulder issue about 6 months ago. And so I've been actually guiding and mentoring him for the last week, what he needs to do, answering lots of questions. And he tells me, I'm so sorry I'm bothering you. And I'm like, no, not at all. I'm actually really pleased that you're opening yourself up to this and not just relying on your surgeon and your physiotherapist and your medications. You're willing to go beyond that. That's really great. So I'm going to encourage you. And I'll be happy to be patient for that, because I think the more power we find within ourselves,
Yes.
the better, you know, this planet will be. I mean, it's really empowering, actually, when you're able to do these things and you're like, oh, I don't need pills, I don't need supplements, etc., etc. I'm even reducing my doses of medication as well, as the days go by, even though I was told that no, you're going to be on it for the rest of your life. Or another surgeon, trying to get a second opinion, said no, you'll have to do it for, not the rest of your life, but 1 or 2 years. But no, I've made an intention. I turned 50 at the end of March, so I've made an intention. By my 50th birthday, I'm off all pharmaceutical pills. I have found, it's only one pill, but still, um, I have found alternatives to it. It was really great having a scan a few weeks ago with the surgeon who told me I'm going to be on this medication for the rest of my life, and my scan was looking pretty okay, much better than before. And I finally told him, "Oh, I've left the aspirin that you've told me." And he goes, "What? When?" And I said, "One week before the surgery was supposed to happen." And he was shocked. He goes, "You did that 1 week before your surgery?" And I said, "Yeah, but you looked at my scans; they're totally fine." I didn't have the heart to tell him that I've also reduced the medication of the second one, because it'd be too much for the poor
For
guy.
the next, so you're
Yeah,
going slowly with him.
yeah. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see him in a few weeks.
Oh, wonderful,
And then tell
wonderful.
him, and then tell him, and then see him again next year and said, "Oh, I'm not on any medication." Can't wait for it.
So we'll have you back in March for your 50th birthday.
Just pressure. So
No pressure. And just as a side note, I just want to point out, so Sonia was sharing the story of this woman who worked with Joe Dispenza's the work, and regrew a rectum. Now, this is not fantasy, guys. She's got the scans to prove it. She's got the scans to prove, like, she had surgery, she didn't have a rectum. She's got the scan to prove that her rectum was regrowing, to the extent that actually I remember, I can't remember if I was reading about her or listening to her, but she was saying that the first scan, it actually looked like a child's rectum because it was literally regrowing, you know.
yeah, amazing, amazing.
It's absolutely mind blowing. It's totally mind blowing. So
People
Sonia,
cry.
thank you so much for joining me today here, joining us.
Yeah, no,
And
thank you. And I hope people get lots of inspiration. And I hope I can continuously be able to keep the faith as well. And I'm going to, I feel like I need to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And let's see what happens.
beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Carol. Okay, bye bye.